I'm glad you guys are back. I'm excited to talk to you today about my favorite fairy tale illustrators. So I already did a video where I talked about my favorite fairy tale books that you can look at. And this one is going to be a little similar in that there's going to be some repeat between some of the illustrators, but this one is going to be more focused on the illustrators that have inspired me and my art as an artist that likes to do fantasy and illustration. So let's get started. The first one I mentioned in my other video is an illustrator whose name is Lisbeth Zwerger. This is a book called The Art of Lisbeth Zwerger. And this one is, I think I discovered her when I was in college, but I just became so fascinated by the way that she used watercolor and ink together. It's such a different way of thinking about it, about the medium itself. So you see, like, oh, this is one of my favorites. So see this picture, see if you can, if I can get it not to glare. See how she let this like background bleed right through the bird's wing, and then the bird just like goes over the top. This is from the Seven Ravens, which is yeah, a fairy tale that I'm going to talk about in a different video. But she does such a fabulous job with leaving this white space, but it's not boring, it's interesting. See how like cool these shapes are. These, sorry, I'm having a hard time holding this book up, but anyway, but there's like so much movement in this picture, and like this one, it's just like this beautiful quiet moment. And I love that. You don't see that a lot, especially with American illustrators. We like to fill up every little inch of space. And anyway, this one is from Little Red Cap, which is a book that I talked about in that other video. But look at how she did those trees and like the forest floor. Instead of drawing every little leaf, she just let the paint do the talking for her. And I love that. It's something that I kind of aspire to do in my own work, and only succeed every, I don't know how often, maybe, I don't know if I've ever succeeded, really. Hardly ever do I succeed. Anyway, so that's one who, who's inspired me as an artist. The next one is Trina Schart Hyman. She did a lot of fabulous fairy tale illustrations, and she's another one that uses watercolor and ink. And I don't know what it is about watercolor, but it just speaks to me in a way that other art doesn't. And you can see she does a great job with these characters, and again, these costumes. I love costumes, and I love drawing like gorgeous hair. These, like, everybody asleep. Look at how beautiful that is. Like everyone just sort of piled on each other, sleeping in the Sleeping Beauty story. Anyway, she here's another one by her, St. George and the Dragon. This was an illustrator who I discovered, I think, by going to the library into the fairy tale section, the J398s, and just looking for books and finding them. That gorgeous dragon painting, it's epic and awesome. And this is another book that won the Caldecott Medal, St. George and the Dragon. But I don't know, she's just brilliant at storytelling, at like these design elements, at her research behind each picture, all things that I just really love in general. Yeah, I don't know if I should show you more or not. Anyway, okay, so that's Trina Schart Hyman. Next on my list I have PJ Lynch, and I talked about him in the other video too, and this book specifically, East of the Sun, West of the Moon. And this one, so the first time I saw this book, let's start there. The first time I saw this book, it was the hardcover version, and my cousin had a copy of it, and she was showing it to me, and I was just so in love, I think, with this picture, I was fascinated by that troll and her long nose. And I think that point of view, how the princess is clear down here. I guess she's not a princess. She's just a regular girl. But yeah, I just loved that. And here's the troll again. So I just remember staring at these pictures at my cousin's house and thinking, like, what is this book? I love it. Like, it just spoke to me right from the beginning. And I think it took me a little while to remember what it was or figure it out, or maybe I had to ask her again. I can't remember. But I think I was like 13 or 14 or something at the time. Here's the first picture. The polar bear comes to her house and takes her away, basically. And these again are watercolor, and as you can see, it's like a completely different way of doing watercolor than like Lisbeth Zwerger. Lisbeth Zwerger again, where she leaves all of that extra space. He's a lot more like detail oriented, which is also something that I love. It's like, I don't know, a contradiction, I guess. But anyway, so another one by him. This isn't a fairy tale book, but this Christmas Miracle of Jonathan Toomey. I love, I don't know, the storytelling in this, and again, the costumes, the way that the characters look at each other and talk to each other, and the detail. Try not to let the glare ruin your experience. Obviously, you really have to pick up the books yourself and turn the pages, because that's kind of what it's about, right? And yeah, and then the way that PJ Lynch does towns and buildings, they're always gorgeous and just, again, well researched. I love that historical aspect to the pictures. So I don't know, those are things that really inspired me. So the next illustrator is one that I don't have a book of, but I'll put the picture right here. Edmond Dulac. So he is French, and you can see this is another one where it's very possible that some of these other illustrators that I've mentioned, who are a little more modern, yeah, a lot more modern, some of them, because they're still alive, were influenced by Edmond Dulac. So you can see in this picture, it's a picture of Cinderella, and there's a lot of empty space, just like Lisbeth Zwerger's, and it's also a quiet moment. I love the way that Cinderella is just sitting by the fireplace looking down. I love the colors. I love that they're more subdued rather than like the bright, more digital colors that we see these days. So his art is gorgeous. So check out Edmond Dulac online, and I'll put links below to all of these guys so you can look them up. Another illustrator that I found just by browsing through the J398 section, the J398 section of the library, is this illustrator, Ruth Sanderson. Her stuff is a lot more realistic, which isn't exactly my thing, but I wanted to include her just because I learned so much from looking at these books. So there's a Sleeping Beauty illustration, and I was just so intrigued by how she told the stories, and the way that the people looked real in a way. Because, how do I explain this? Because it wasn't that I wanted to necessarily draw real. I mean, I did as a teenager. I think that's everybody's goal, is to learn how to draw humans well. But there's a 12 Dancing Princesses. I loved the glow of it. I guess what I'm saying is, I just remember looking at these pictures and wondering how she did it, and just being really intrigued by the hands and the hair and the fabric, and like, how did she paint it, and what makes it look like that, and why did she do it that way? And so even though, like, I wouldn't say that she inspired my like watercolor style as an artist, she definitely had an impact on my learning as an artist. So that's Ruth Sanderson. And then I have two more. So the next one is this guy, Arthur Rackham. You've probably heard of him. He has inspired fairy tale and fantasy artists throughout the ages. And I love, again, like the way that he uses lines and they're flowy and the white space. And I specifically picked this picture of his to show you because I love the way that the hair moves through the picture and kind of guides your eye. And you can see the kid in the background trying to catch the hat. And it's like a different, what am I trying to say? You can see him trying to catch the hat, and it's just a different way of telling the story. I guess the way that the pictures are arranged and that it's not like in a rectangle, it's a spot illustration. So I don't know, it's just gorgeous, and all of his pictures are gorgeous. And again, he's another one that does a lot of like empty space with flowing lines and flowing watercolor pictures. And then one of the last ones that I want to talk to you about is this one, KY Craft. This is her illustration for the cover of a Sleeping Beauty book that she did. And I think that she's pretty popular. You've probably heard of her. And she's another one where I just remember staring at her art and just wondering how she did it and trying to figure out how I could get that same feeling of like magicalness and wonder. So I don't know, her art is just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. Okay, so those are my 8 favorite fairy tale illustrators. Yeah, not to say that those are my only favorite illustrators or favorite fairy tale illustrators, because there's so many good ones again, but I picked these because I had specific memories that of them influencing my art or me being inspired by what they had done. And so I just wanted to share that with you. And if you want to look at the artwork that I make, you can check out talesfantastic.com. And if you like this video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up down below. And thanks so much for watching. Bye. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Here's a video. Oh gosh.